I drink your wine.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Ed, I would hate to disturb you with the beautiful ladies here, but sorry, Ed. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very excited to be here with you today and to introduce to you a few very impressive speakers. Actually, soon I'm going to present Salim Ismail sitting right next to me, and he will host you for the rest of the event. The whole process, Salim will run it. Before Salim takes control over the event, it's okay? You'll take control over the event?
Maybe
Okay. Salim is the global ambassador for the Singularity University. But before he takes control over the event, I'd like to provide you with my short introduction to this whole idea and maybe also tell you a personal story of why am I here and what am I doing with it. So the title for the day is The Best Way to Predict the Future is to Create It. And I'd like to discuss with you some predictions for the future and the process of predicting the future and the personal effect it has on me recently. So let's go on. And I will start with a very old prediction for the future. This is a very significant prediction for the future. I guess many of you have heard about Malthus. He gave his prediction for the future in 1798, and his prediction was very bleak, very depressive. Basically, what Malthus said was that we people are growing fast in an exponential rate, the people, the population, the P over here, but the food, the resources that we have to sustain people is not growing that fast. As a result, we are doomed. This is a very black future. We will always fight over resources. We will always live under scarcity. We will always have war over resources, war, poverty. That's the future of humanity. Actually, his prediction was so powerful that a few years later, Darwin has developed his theory, and he quoted Malthus as the major drive for developing the evolution theory. Because Darwin said, if we are always going to live under scarcity, then only the best, only the fittest will survive, only those who can fight for resources. So the whole evolution theory was actually based on the assumption that we are doomed, that scarcity is our future. So that's the first prediction. The second prediction I'd like to relate to is Alvin Toffler, 1970. I was a little boy at that time, 1970, and he said something very important. He said, look, guys, we humans cannot cope with fast change. Now look around you, he said in 1970, things are getting to move faster and faster, but I can tell you that we humans cannot cope with it. And he actually looked at it as some kind of a disease or an illness or a problem, that things have started to move fast. We don't know how to cope with it. So I will tell you how to cope with fast change. Get ready for the future. These were his words. We should be ready for the future. Again, maybe a bit more optimistic than Malthus, but for me it was still a very black kind of an idea that we humans are not prepared for the future. The future is coming faster and faster, and we should be ready for it, but maybe we are not ready for it. And this is a very funny statement here. The symptoms of the future shock are with us today. This is 1970. This book can help you survive our collision with tomorrow. My parents. The next book about prediction that really affected my life is The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil. Actually, you will see later on, Ray Kurzweil is one of the co-founders of the Singularity University. Salim will describe it a bit later on. And in his book, The Singularity is Near, Ray Kurzweil is saying that, look, guys, things are really moving faster and faster and faster. But for the first time, he also shows us the pluses and the benefits, and contrary, opposite to the Malthusian view that we are doomed to live under poverty and scarcity, Ray tells us that actually we can generate more, we can do more, we should learn how to connect with that trend. Once we connect with this trend, we can achieve much more. And this is how the Singularity University has started a few years later, and this is why we are here. But recently, and by the way, before I go to the next prediction, a part of the predictions given by Ray Kurzweil in his book were that $1,000 will buy us a computer 1 billion times more powerful than the human brain. Wow. I mean, but by the way, is it good news or bad news? $1,000 will buy us a computer 1 billion times more powerful than the human brain. Singularity occurs as artificial intelligence suppresses human beings as the smartest and the most capable life form on Earth. Is it good news or bad news? It makes you more optimistic or more pessimistic? The singularity. The machines enter into a runaway reaction of self-improvement of cycles. Again, bad news or good news? The singularity is an extremely destructive, world-altering event that forever changes the course of human history. You know what? I'm not sure if this is so positive. Maybe. But then came the next prediction, and I found it only 2 months ago. The next prediction, Salim was kind enough to send me the draft, the word draft of a book that is being published today, and the title of this book is Abundance. And the book is all about abundance. This is another prediction. And this prediction is that the future is going to be great, really great. And this is what we want to discuss today. We want to discuss how technology, accelerating technologies, whatever we are doing, lead us to a better future. And I think that it's in many ways in our hands. And I would even suggest that this is our personal choice that each of one has to make these days. I mean, do we take this fast change, sometimes threatening change? Do we take all this development and we look at it as a bad thing? Or do we try to come with the best part of it and actually harness these powers to the better being of humanity? And this is the real question today, if you ask me. So this book, which is now being published, I'm not sure even if you can buy it on Amazon today, yes or no, tells us, and the answer is yes, tells us that the future is better than you think. And it suggests that we take the optimistic view. So I'd like to cast here a vote for optimism. Yes, technology will help us, and we will be able to become even better. And I would urge you to take the decision also. And you should choose between scarcity or abundance. And I think it's not just technology. It's a mentality. It's a social thing. Do you adopt the scarcity mentality? The scarcity mentality is the zero-sum paradigm of life. Somebody gains, somebody loses. The abundance mentality, according to Stephen Covey, is that it opens possibilities, options, and alternatives, and creativity helps, and we can do things that will increase the cake for all of us. There is an article I wrote in Globes, I think it was published today, and I'm calling for our next politicians here in Israel not just to slice the cake, but also to make sure that we increase the cake. I'm worried that some of our politicians simply want to eat the cake, but this is a different thing. But let's say that they don't want to eat the cake, they just want to manage it. We should not just slice the cake, we should increase the cake. And I would urge you to choose your mentality. But before we become optimistic, let's take a hard look at the hard core issues of society and humanity today. Because we have some really brutal issues ahead of us. 3.3 billion people today live under less than $2.5 a day. 25,000 people more or less die every day as a result of poverty. We still have some really significant issues to address. So let's take a hard look at the problems, and then let's see if the promise of technology can help us actually address those hardcore issues. So look at humanity. Look at how many we are. And it's a good question because it's not obvious that our planet can sustain all of us. Let me put it in another way. I can guarantee to you that if we don't continue to innovate, if we don't continue to become better and better and better, the planet cannot sustain us. And we have to make sure that it can sustain us, and later on that we go to other planets. Let's address that. So we have today about 7 billion people on Earth, and how many will we be in the year 2050? This is the UN projection, and you have 3 scenarios over here. The pessimistic scenario will be 10.6 million people. Another pessimistic scenario will be 7.4 billion people. And what probably is going to be true, hopefully, is that we are going to be about 9 billion people by the year 2050. And the question is, can we sustain it? How many Earths do we need to sustain humanity? Let me show you a few really disturbing graphs. Let's look on the left one. What per capita? An American consumes today, every hour of operation of a typical American, it's 13,000 watts. It's a lot. The Bangladeshi person, it's 300. In India, it's about 1,000. In Israel, it's about 5,000 watts per hour. What happens if we all consume like Americans? Think about it. GHG, greenhouse gases pollution. Look at the graph. It's going up and up and up. The OECD countries are somehow monitoring their GHG, the green one, they're monitoring it, but Asia, the blue line, is really rocketing. I mean, we pollute our planet more and more and more. Even the Americans continue to pollute in a very strong, on a very strong trend upwards. Look at how much food we eat. An American would eat close to 4,000 calories a day. An Israeli, 3.5 thousand calories a day. Somebody from India, 2.4 thousand calories. The point is, look at the graphs over here, look at China, everybody wants to eat more, much, much more. So we have today on Earth about 6 billion people who want to live like 500 million Americans and Europeans, and some Israelis, which is an issue by itself. How can we sustain it? And let's do the mathematics. How many planets do we need? Guys, we need 6 planets. If we all want to live like the Americans, we need 6 planets. And if you want to, the first discount, if you all want to live like the Europeans, we will need only 4 planets. And how many do we have now? We have 1. We are on our way to Mars. We're not yet there. It will take time. So we have a problem that we need to address. And what is the solution? Because I promised you abundance. I promised you that I'm going to become optimistic. The solution is quite simple. It has been with us for the last decades and centuries. It's technology, science, and innovation. And that's the way to increase the cake. And actually, it's not only that we can do it, we must do it right now. This is why I call this presentation Innovation for Survival. It's, we must do it. And again, the future will be better than we think. Look at innovation. Look at what innovation can do for us. This is amazing. This is one of the most amazing slides I ever, when I look at it, it excites me. Agriculture was invented around 9,000 years ago, or 11,000 years ago. Agriculture was invented here. In 1830, you needed 250 man-hours to grow 100 bushels of wheat. A few years later, you needed only 40 hours. In 1930, 15 hours. 1960, you take only 5 man-hours in a developed country to grow 100 bushels of wheat. And you know what? It's becoming an IT job, a robot's job, a biotech job. Growing wheat for food will not involve man-hours in the future. We'll have time for Q&A later on. I just don't want to disrupt this whole process, and I'll be happy to take questions, but if you allow me, we'll keep it for the Q&A part, okay? Sorry. So what you're seeing here is an innovation process. It's an innovation process that with us for the last so many thousands of years, and what drives us forward. In Salim's presentation, you will be able to see a lot of other many driving forces of accelerating growth, of innovation that will take us to the future. The real equation for me right now is the following equation. Number of people is going up. Food, we need more food. We want to consume more food. It's going up. Energy consumption. Energy is a major issue here. It's going up. Waste generation is going up. And we have to solve it. And we have to solve it, and the way to solve it is, on the right side of the equation, I put the human spirit, science, technology, and innovation as a process that will help us sustain our existence and take it much further forward. And again, the whole notion of accelerating technologies, Salim and the rest of the speakers will talk about it later on, that will enable us to go in this route of acceleration later on to abundance. This is a list of accelerating technologies. We are going to touch a few of them over here. Networks and computing systems, AI and robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology, bioinformatics, medicine, neuroscience, energy. In all of these fields, we have been able to see in the last decades significant acceleration. The rate of growth is accelerating, and that's actually the solution to taking humanity to the next step. So, back to optimism. Not only that we can innovate, we must continue and innovate. And I think that just assuming the optimistic viewpoint as a beginning, it's the right thing to do. I mean, because you can sit down and say, we are doomed, this is lost. We can become all, we can follow the Malthus line of thinking that we are doomed, there's no way to sustain. I would suggest that we adopt the other line of abundance and take our responsibility over here. And we do have responsibility. The responsibility is not just for innovation, not just for growth, not just for technology. The responsibility is also to make sure that mankind, humanity, actually shares abundance in a realistic and fair way. Because what we have seen in Israel in the last several decades and even in the last several months, we have seen a process in which more and more wealth is being created, but it's being more and more concentrated with the upper percentage or the upper whatever. And there is a lot of turmoil now in the economy and in people and social turmoil because we are not addressing the issue of not just generating more, but also how I'm not suggesting communism and equal distribution of wealth. Don't misunderstand me. But I'm addressing responsibility. We should take the responsibility to make sure that if we increase abundance, we share it in a fair way. The last slide for you, I couldn't resist the temptation, is the biggest prediction made ever. No prediction is bigger than that. This is the ultimate prediction. I will not read the poem for you, but this is the ultimate prediction, so I will just share it with you. You can read it to yourself. I'm sure that most of you have seen it already. Fire and ice, the whole cosmos, who knows? Just a thought that I wanted to share with you. So with these words, I'd like to thank you and ask Salim to take the leadership over here, present the Singularity University, present accelerating technologies, invite two very fascinating speakers to talk about biotech, medicine, other accelerating technologies, and then we'll have a Q&A session that we can somehow summarize that into action items. Great. Sure. Thank you, Salim. Maybe we can take one or two questions while you're switching. So we had a question there.
Please. Yes, I like your basic approach. For example, with the food, yes, it's true that we're increasing the number of hours, but on the other hand, part of the reason we're able to do that is that we're putting more energy into the food than the food actually produces. And when we no longer have to rely with abundant oil, that's a challenge. We can deal with it, but it's still a challenge. We have to change our system so that slide doesn't quite show the whole story.
I fully agree with you that energy becomes the major issue that we should address. Because yes, we're becoming smarter and more efficient, but energy is the major issue. But let's look at the sun, just as an example. The sun provides whatever we need. I mean, I don't recall the exact numbers right now, but the sun, solar energy, provides whatever we need, way and above whatever we will ever need. We don't know yet how to efficiently tap into that source of energy. We don't know yet how to use solar energy in a very efficient way. So right now we are caught in between the oil paradigm and the new renewable paradigm. I would suggest that part of the innovation, the essential innovation, is to make sure that we properly connect to solar energy, wind energy, renewable energy, nuclear energy. If we don't do that, then again we are doomed. But that's part of the equation here. This is part of the innovation that we need to go through.
I agree. That's why 1 hour of the sun is equal to a year consumption of.
You see, 1 hour of sun equals to a year, whatever. 30 days of sunshine on Earth equals to all the fossil fuels we have ever used or will use in the future. The numbers are amazing. We have the energy. We should connect to it, and energy is a big issue. Salim, please.
All right.